We're in Liverpool for the outdoor trade show, and today we've been looking at some of the most new and exciting footwear that's coming out throughout spring-summer 2023. We've got a trio of soft shoes from the likes of Boreal, Unparallel and Black Diamond, and then a really techie mountaineering offering from La Sportiva. A few years ago, we reviewed the previous version of the Boreal Satori, and it's just had a total redesign for 2023. It's the same in name, sits in the same position within the range, but in terms of the fit and the last, is a complete redesign. So first things first, there's a fair amount of volume over the toe, and that's simply so you can fit your feet right up against the very, very end. Your knuckles definitely want to be fitting snug within this shoe. And the toe box itself is absolutely covered in rubber, but it's been designed in this really clever one-piece wrap design. And again, it's a nice soft compound, so it's not going to hurt your toes, but it is going to help to provide you with all of the gains you need on those marginal toe hooks. Now this is a soft shoe, but there is a midsole which runs from there through to the end of the shoe. And the reason for this is just so that it gives you that sensitivity for smears, but also gives you a bit more support on those marginal edges. And the other thing I'm really excited about within the Satori is testing out Boreal's new Zenith Ultra 2 rubber. We used the Zenith Pro 2 on the Crux a few months ago when we reviewed that on site, and that was absolutely amazing. But the Zenith Ultra 2 is a stickier compound compared to the Pro 2's edgier compound. This shoe also comes in a lower volume version, which is suitable either for women or lighter climbers. And its difference is that it's got a little bit less rubber. They've shaved off a little within the forefoot, and they've also used a slightly different midsole, so it has a softer feel compared to its higher volume counterpart. And if you're questioning its credentials, it's worth mentioning that this shoe, even though it isn't even out yet, has been used by Josh Ibbotson on Rain Man, the third ascent, Steve McClure's 9B. And that's quite an accolade. This is called the Souped Up. It's the Unparallel Souped Up, and that's actually what it's called. Now the Souped Up is designed with competitions and indoor climbing in mind. It is super soft, and it's got 3.5 mil of rubber across the sole at the front. That's the RS rubber, which is their super sticky compound. But the thing that brings that softness is the absolute lack of a midsole. So this is designed with pasting rubber onto volumes in mind. On the heel, they use the RH compound, which is the slightly firmer compound. It's good for heel hooking and maintains shape and form. Some of the other updates which have taken place, which are refinements from their existing design, are things like the tongue and the opening. Within the flagship, that didn't have anything quite like this and was sometimes a little tricky to get your foot into. Whereas with the Souped Up, which is what it's really called, it's much, much easier to get your foot into. Another refinement is they're now using offset pull tabs at the back. Previously, one had run down the line of the heel, which meant that when you're trying to get your foot in, it felt a little bit awkward as it was just uneven in the way that it pulled, whereas this gives a nice, even opening. When it comes to fit, these are at the narrower end of the spectrum and have relatively low volume. But because they are as soft as they are, they will adapt to morph around your foot, so it's worth trying them on when they come out next year. So here we've got the Black Diamond Method S, and whilst we don't know whether the S stands for soft, strap or slipper, at least two of those things accurately describe this shoe. It comes in two different versions. You've got the low volume and the higher volume, which allows it to adapt around the shape of your foot. And they're at the sort of regular end of the width spectrum, with a moderate amount of volume around the forefoot. Now these are aimed with performance bouldering in mind. They're super soft, but their horseshoe midsole means that they still perform well on edges, and there's plenty of rubber around the toe. And it's a nice soft and chamfered rubber, which allows you to toe hook effectively with it. The rubber itself is Black Diamond's Black Label rubber, which is their stickiest compound, and equates to kind of the same sort of area as Vibram XS Grip. Some of the other features we like are the sock knit design of the inner here. Now these are super stretchy and also feel really nice next to skin, and it makes them nice and easy to get your feet into. And the other thing that makes it easier is the extended liner that's attached with the pull tabs at the back, which again just makes it easier to actually get your foot into. So the Method S joins Black Diamond's ever-growing range of climbing shoes. The Method being another example, but there are plenty more within the collection. So Clive, here we've got the Equilibrium ST and LT. These were reviewed on UKC a short while ago and had a really, really positive response from our audience. And you've got the ST here, which is a little bit lighter, a little bit more breathable.
Yep.
And you've got the LT, the leather, which is, yes, a little bit warmer and a little bit more durable, but
slightly stiffer.
This collection, I guess, has now become more of a collection. It's an extended range, haven't they, courtesy of La Sportiva?
Absolutely, yeah. I think the standout feature, which everybody spots, is the heel. Obviously, that's something that's quite different to what you've seen elsewhere.
It's without doubt the beefiest heel I think I've ever seen on any boot, ever.
There's two stories there, essentially. One is braking, downhill braking. You can tell it's very deeply lugged. The other thing is actually when you wear them, you discover it's got this sort of rocker feel to it, and it almost propels you forward. So actually it's a very, very, what looks like a technical boot is actually more about walking and trekking and that kind of forward movement. You'll notice that throughout the lugs are very deep. You know, it's not purely a technical shoe.
And it's going to be a super durable sole unit as well.
Yeah, that's
so,
right.
So not content to keep it with just the two boots within the collection, La Sportiva have extended it to another two models now. Now, where have they taken it beyond these two?
Well, let's just have a quick look at this is not the Equilibrium, but this is a G-Tech. So this is a technical boot that's just launching, essentially. Yeah, now, as you can tell, this is something that's a completely different animal, really. It's not that, it's a well-featured boot. It's not that complex, really. I mean, you feel how light that is.
And this, I think I'm right to say, where the Equilibrium is designed to be more of an all-rounder, this is maybe a little bit more specialist.
Way more technical, yeah, absolutely. This really is looking more towards high-standard mixed climbing. But as you can tell, the same heel, very similar heel construction is there. The front is much lighter because there's not so much midsole as there is in the Equilibriums. And within the actual boot itself, it's all about lightweight and warmth, essentially, in what is a very light boot. So that is a 4-season stiff boot.
Now, this and the next stage, which is, and I'll bring this over because this is one of the more outrageous products I've seen in recent times, which features the, I guess, heel and sole unit of the Equilibrium, but then it's almost like an approach shoe, Clive.
Basically a shoe, yeah, that's right.
How does this work?
This is Equilibrium Speed. If I point out the obvious feature, essentially it is the same sole unit, as you can tell, but it is much more of a shoe inside. It's a gore shoe, so there's a full gore lining in there, whereas the Gator is waterproof tapes, etc. It's not actually gore, and it has a speed lacing system. What it's used for, it's I would have said I can see a lot of fast and light people in the Alps wanting to use this.
Think Italian guides for me.
Yeah, absolutely on it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I think obviously it lacks a certain amount of support, but I think the people who are going to want to buy this aren't really looking for that at all. They're looking to be moving fast. So it's a sort of new generation, if you like, of Equilibrium.
Cool. Thanks ever so much, Clive. That's great. Really exciting collection.